Alrighty. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all of you that have decided to join today. I hope everybody is having a fantastic, what is today? Tuesday, Wednesday? It's Wednesday, right? Yeah, you're supposed to, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, Wednesday, yes. So happy Wednesday to everybody out there. Let's make sure I'm getting everybody in. Still have a few people that are jumping in, so I'm going to go ahead and kick off right now. Just kind of do a little talking before we kind of get into Moxie Engage. I wanted to give a shout out first and introduce myself. My name is Jimmy McNally. I work at CENTURY 21 Beggins down here in the sunny state of Florida, right in the Tampa area market. We have a total of 8 offices, over 400 agents. We are the '1 CENTURY 21 in the state of Florida, which is pretty fantastic. The reason I'm sitting on here with you today is we have gone live with Moxie. We started back actually at the end of October when we had Moxie present, and now we have gone live completely with all the modules of Moxie. So, and just to give you a little bit more about myself, I do not work with CENTURY 21 Corporate. I do not work with Moxie, and I am not an employee of Realogy/Anywhere Real Estate. I am just a realtor, a sales manager of a couple of the offices we have with CENTURY 21 Beggins. And, you know, I'm the type of guy that likes the new, latest and greatest technology that goes out there. And I just have this knack for being able to teach it out. And I just want to kind of push that forward to all the other CENTURY 21s out there, because this is one of the largest technology rollouts that any real estate company has ever done with Moxie. So the more information, the more training, the more that's out there for you, is kind of why we're doing this. If I could get a quick little shout out or some hands up, or maybe just throw in the chat where everybody is from. I know I have quite a few from my brokerage on this call today, but if you wouldn't mind going ahead, throwing up there and let me know where everybody is from. See what, okay, I got some New Jersey in there. Cool.
Pennsylvania.
Okay, Madeira Beach. We like that. Pennsylvania. Okay, so we're a little all over the place. Sunny Florida. Yep. Okay, wow. Thank you so much for the comments. So what I want to do is I want to get started because I don't want to waste an entire hour of your day with just talking about how awesome Moxie is and that kind of stuff. But I really want to go through and give you some best practices, hopefully give you a better understanding of what Moxie Engage is going to be. That's what I'm focusing on today. I'm not going to go over any other Moxie module at this point. I will have other trainings that I'm going to throw out there with Moxie Present, Moxie websites, Moxie Impress, all of those things out there just to try to get some more training actually out there for you. Let me go ahead and add that. I'm still adding a few people as we go. Okay, awesome. So you have my information. I'll also be sending out this recording. You'll have a cloud recording that you can go back in and take a look at any of this information and follow up with it with the computer open, learning as you're going. This is my information that you have here, phone number, email address, and then again, I will send out all the information also for you, so you can follow up and even share this with some of the other agents in your offices. And like I said, today we're going to be talking about Moxie Engage. We know the Moxie suite's coming out. Now, let me ask this question too, if you don't mind throwing it out there. How many of you have actually launched the entire suite of Moxie services, or maybe halfway, or maybe you're not going to launch until July, August, September? Throw that up in the chat if you don't mind. I'd love to see where everybody's at with this. Launch completely, hoping soon. Okay. Yes, Clarissa, yes, launching next week. I'm very excited for you, just so you know, and I'm here if you need me. Launch completely, yep. All right, good. So we have a little mixture of everything in here. Some that have launched, some that have not. New agents still learning, very cool. Haven't yet, but soon. Cool. So this is just going to give you some more information and hopefully make the tool a little bit stronger for you when it does launch, or hopefully be able to get engaged a little bit better with what you have there. Before we actually get into Moxie Engage, I do want to kind of just walk through where you can find some extra training. So on C21 University, there is a Moxie section where you can go in and do your Moxie 101 trainings. There's Moxie 201 and 301 that are instructor-led classes that you can actually register for, which is pretty cool. In the moment, if you need to learn how to do something, I'm going to show you how to use the help feature, but I will tell you that, I had the capability of being able to kind of run this launch for our brokerage. And I will tell you the help feature is probably my best friend when it comes down trying to figure out issues that may be populating that's out there. You also have Moxie Works Education's website where you can go in and do self-paced learning. That is also video / kind of how-to guides, which is really, really nice. If you have not launched, that is a great website to go into. And then finally, you should start seeing if you've already launched. If not, I would highly get with your broker and have them start sending out some of this information for you. But Moxie Works Hours, this is something that's done every 2 weeks. And basically what it does is it goes over a small portion of one of the modules with Moxie. So they may just talk about how to set up your tasks and your sales flow for Engage on one of them. They may talk about how to add neighborhood news to a presentation, some really just cool things that you could do. That's an hour long every 2 weeks. You can go in and literally register for all the upcoming ones. And if it makes sense for you to jump on and you want to learn about any of those things. So I love to call that stuff out, let you know where you can get some more information. And at any time during the training, please go ahead and throw in some questions. If you have them, raise your hand. I do talk a little bit fast. I don't like stopping. So raise your hand, say stop. If you have a question you want to ask, or if you want to just go ahead and throw it in the chat, by all means. I may end up answering it, or I might have to get back to you. But I will definitely do that for you. So let's start talking about Moxi Engage. So can anyone on the call tell me where do you go and how do you get into Moxi? Does anybody know where you need to go to be able to find the modules and get into Moxi Engage, Moxi Present, Moxi websites? So where you can throw that in the chat if you do not mind. Yep, Productivity Hub. So I'll walk you through that. That's probably the easiest way. The first time you log in is you go to 21 Online. You want to go down to your Productivity Hub here and then go ahead and scroll down. And I always make a joke about this, but this is in alphabetical order. Okay, so Moxie starts with them. Go down, just scroll down till you find the M's, and you'll find Moxi Engage, Moxi Impress. Now, if you have not launched all the way, you will only see the tiles here if you've launched. So if you have not launched, if you go into 21 Online right now, you will not see this. If you have launched, let's say you've only launched Moxi Present and Moxi Impress, those will be the only two that you're going to see at this time. And then once you're fully launched, so they push these tiles out 1 or 2 at a time as you're going through your training. But this is probably the easiest way the first time to be able to log into it. All you got to do is click more. And then as this pops up, you will just click Access Moxi Engage, Moxi Present, whichever one that you went into. Now, one of the awesome things are that, Moxi is just a fantastic suite of services already. But one of the things I truly love about Moxi, because if you're using Zap or Business Builder or another CRM, you have to figure out where you got to log in. You got to log in there. You got to log into Business Builder. You got to log into Century 21. You got to log in all these different places and try to find it. But one of the awesome things with Moxi is as you launch them, you'll have all the options up here on the right. You only have to log in one time. So once you log in that first time, it allows me to go between Moxi Present, Moxi Engage, Moxi Websites, Impress, excuse me, Promote, and then the directory. So this is pretty cool. You log in once. And what I've kind of taught everybody to do at this point is once you get here, this mymoxie.century21.com, or if I click on Moxi Present, it's going to be present.century21.com. Save this. Come over here, hit this little star, save it as Moxi. And then now it's going to be on your bar as a favorite. And then that way, all you have to do is literally click on Moxi. It'll ask you for the login for 21 Online, and boom, you're there. So you're going to actually skip quite a few steps if you're going that way, which is pretty cool. So save that. Save yourself a few seconds every single day that you're logging in, because this is something that you should be accessing every single day that you actually get into the system. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get into Moxi Engage, which I already have open here. So for those of you that have not launched or have not really played around quite yet with Moxi, I am going to walk you through where the contacts come from and also what it looks like the first time that you log in. Just for those of you that haven't really played around with it, I want to walk you through that. But depending on how your brokerage actually set up Moxi, it's either going to be basically through the G Suite of services. So Gmail, Google, that kind of stuff, or Office 365. Now for my office, we went through Gmail. So I'm going to be using that as an example. So your Google or your G Suite of services, your Google contacts, your email, and your calendar all sync up with Moxi, specifically Moxi Engage. Google is what they call the source of truth. And what that means is the contacts that you have in Engage, as you put new contacts in or you get new leads, are going to sync up with whatever that account is. So again, for us, it's Gmail. So if I have someone in my Google accounts, if I have a client or a person or whatever it is, and I'm going to show you here, this is where the first time that you log in and you kind of merge with Moxi Engage, this is where all of your contacts are going to come from at first. The first email migration that you're going to have. So for the new agents that don't use Gmail, you may not have any contacts in here. I've had agents that have been doing this for years and they have 1,000 contacts already in their Google contacts. That's what they use. So what that means is those 1,000 contacts, the first time we log in, are going to sync up with Moxi Engage, and you're going to have 1,000 people, okay, in your Engage. It's not including if you're going to be migrating from Zap or migrating from Business Builder or doing a bulk upload from another CRM. But it's important to understand this because if the first time you log in, you may think you don't have anybody and you have a lot. And this is going to bring me to one of my first points. Garbage in equals garbage out. That means take the time now. If you haven't done it already and you've already launched, you need to take the time to go in and clean up what your contacts look like. Okay. If it's somebody that's just not has ghosted you, it's not in contact anymore, do it in Zap, do it in Business Builder, and do it in Google. Go through and clean this up, look for duplicates, make sure that everything is ready to go so you can really use the best use of your time when you actually start using Engage and starting working your database. So that's one of my takeaways, is take the time to clean up your database. It's probably one of the biggest ones because you need to take some of that time. Now, the other thing I will tell you too, so I'm an iPhone user and I use Gmail on my phone, and I also have my contacts, they're sunk up with Google Contacts. So what that also means for me is when I add a new contact into my phone, it automatically syncs with Google. And we said Google's the source of truth, and that's what syncs up with Engage. So in essence, and this does work for me, when I add a new contact, it automatically goes to Google, which automatically syncs to Engage. So if I meet a new potential client out at the supermarket or something like that, I can get their information and they're already pushed all the way through to my CRM, which is absolutely fantastic. Not everybody likes that though. So there is an option in your phone settings to turn that off, but those are just some things to be prepared as you're kind of getting moving with Moxi Engage. So I've already logged in for the first time, so I cannot show you what that login is going to look like because I have already done. You can only do it one time and do the email. And I'll kind of walk you through that right now. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a quick start guide. That's just going to kind of walk you through the very first time you log into Engage. Now, let me tie in Google just a little bit more. If I have contacts in Google, they automatically are going to sync with Engage. Okay. But what if I don't want them in my CRM? Does anybody know what we should do? You don't have to speak it out. You can throw it in chat if you're listening. Okay. So if you do not want them in your Engage, you are able to remove them. That does not remove them from your Google contacts. They'll still be in your Google contacts. So if that's where you're using that's kind of where your sphere, everybody is in your Google contacts, you can actually delete them out of Engage and they'll still be there in Google. Now, if I completely delete somebody from Google though, they'll be completely out of Engage. So kind of keep that in mind as you're going through everything too. And then the last thing on the whole sync with Google and calendar and email, the nice thing when the reason that it's set up this way, well, one of the awesome things is it's tied directly to your email. So when you send an email out of Engage, it's going out of your Google or Gmail. Okay, it's not copied as something else like Zap has done before, where it makes it look like it's coming from you. It's literally coming from your email. Same thing with your calendar. If you're using the sales flow, which we're going to get into in a few minutes, if you're using the sales flow correctly and you're following the task and the sales flow for your clients or your people that you have in there, you can actually tie that all directly into your calendar. So if you use a calendar all the time and you have tasks that you need to do or appointments that need, you can actually sync it up so you can see it on both ends. And I'm going to show you that in just a few when we get to the dashboard. So here, these are screenshots. Again, I cannot show you because once I go in the first time and log in and merge my mail account, you can only do it that one time. If for some reason you have a hiccup, you do need to go through support to get them to kind of reverse it and do what they need to. We're already to this point here. So the first time you log in and you click on Moxie Engage, it's going to ask you to set up your Engage. And again, it's pretty simple. You're just going to hit continue. You can't use this platform unless you do it, okay? If you don't follow these steps, you're not going to be able to get in and actually start working Moxie Engage and all the awesome stuff that you're going to be able to do with it that I'm going to explain here soon. Next up here, you're going to see, now this is set up for my brokerage for this quick start guide, but you're going to have this little pop-up that says which email. So your broker should have already set this up for you. You're going to click whatever that email is that you're supposed to sync with that. There is an option to click. I plan on using Gmail. So if you have your like a free account that you've gotten set up, you can use that one time. You're going to hit continue. And then the next and kind of last couple steps here is before you can get any further, you have to set a commission goal. Okay. So what is your goal this year? And I am going to pick on Ryan. I am sorry, Ryan, because I see your face. I mean, maybe Jen, I could pick on her later too. You don't have, and you don't even have to answer. I'm just because I see these names up here, that's why I'm calling it out. So if you have a goal of $200,000 this year, this is what you're going to put in here. If you have a goal of $50,000, you're going to put this in here the first time. Now you can adjust this and I'll show you how to do it later. So if you are killing your $200,000 goal, Jen, and you're at like 350 grand already, you need to push that thing up, you can do it. But one of the awesome things with Moxie Engage is if you're using it correctly, and you have to use this thing all the time and actually work the people that are in there and do it the right way, it tracks your sales. Okay, so it's going to track all your closings, which by the way ties in directly to 21 online. So if you go there and you see where you're at with your numbers, it's the same thing right here. You're going to see where they're at. But there's not many people that I can go to and say, what is your book of business worth, Ryan? So your pipeline, the people that you have hanging out that you're talking to that may do business with you, maybe they're, who knows what's going on in the markets, shifting a little bit. It's very competitive, what are we going to do? You can there's a way, if you're using this consistently, you can see what your book of business is worth. And you could go in there and say, you know what? Yes, I've done 250 grand this year, but my business, my pipeline is worth $500,000 in commission if I was to close every single one of them. It's kind of hard. So think of this, if you're an agent that is going to retire in 5 years, if you use this and it's the same brokerage, it kind of has to be. Sorry, if you go somewhere else and you're not using the system, it's not going to work. But being able to transfer your book of business to somebody else and actually showing what it's worth, I'm just saying, it's a pretty cool feature. So again, as you go through this, set it up, make sure you put a commission there. You have to put something in there. You at least have to put like $100 or it won't let you go through, and it will tell you that it won't let you go through. Then you're going to have these little pop-ups that are going to say setup complete, fantastic. And it's going to say, welcome to Engage. Okay. Now that's the first step. And what I recommend to do after that is once you do that connection with Engage, to start spending time with those contacts that have come over from Google to get a little comfortable with how Moxie Engage works, setting up searches, setting up just listed, all that kind of stuff for you. Now, if you are an overachiever, or let's say you're an agent that doesn't have a lot in there, maybe you've been using Zap, you've been doing it for a little bit. I'm going to pull up, this is your migration tool here. So what will happen the first time is it will pop up and say, would you like to migrate from Business Builder or from Zap? And I just want to walk you through what this migration looks like. You are able to skip it as many times as you would like until you're ready to bring everybody on from Zap or Business Builder. Because once you do this migration, you can only do it once. Only once. and you can only pick one. This is why it's important to go and clean up your database and make sure that you don't have duplicates or what makes more sense. I have some people that only use Zap. That's what they went ahead and they click on Zap and they'll go ahead and migrate all their contacts from Zap over to Engage. Or you have Market Leader, which is Business Builder. You can use that option to bring your database over into Moxie Engage. You cannot pick both. You can only do one or the other. Now, what if you're using both Zap and Business Builder and you have actually different contacts in each one? That's like a thing, right? What I would recommend to do is go into Business Builder, because Business Builder, you can actually import from Zap. So you can take your contacts from Zap, import them into Business Builder, and then go the opposite direction back to Moxie. I know it's a couple extra steps, but if you're worried about it, that is your way through that. You're going to confirm all that, and then it's going to take time to do your migration. You'll get a pop-up and you'll get an email saying that your migration has been complete, which looks like this. When you get this CRM migration completed, this means that from Zap or Business Builder, the contacts or the data has come over into that. Any questions so far? Let me slow down for just a second. I know that's been a lot, but are there any questions out there? Feel free to unmute or throw them up in the chat. You got any crickets over there? It's that everybody understands it that much. Thank you, Ryan. Like you got me, right? You got me. I know Ryan, by the way, too. So anybody else that's on here, like I just, yeah, anyways. Okay, so let's get into Moxie Engage. You've taken the time to clean up your database. You've done your migration from Google. You've done your migration from Zap and Business Builder. So for those of you that have already done that, now you just have data. There's just people, like they're not set up in anything. You just have your data in your Moxie Engage. I'm going to give you some best practices on how to group them and put them in as buyers or not, or collaborators or what it may be. But Engage is just like, at first, it's just a whole bunch of data, a whole bunch of just people coming in here, and you have to identify who's a client and who's not. And after you go through that, that's kind of like the next step, I guess you could say. Make sure I get these people in. Yes. So Jerry, you asked, is my company from Google? No, my company is not from Google, but we do use Gmail. So ours is c21be.com is the end of our Gmail address. So it's not Gmail, but we switched the Gmail to c21be.com. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Gmail, but it's through Google, and we changed basically the end of our email address. All right, so let's talk about what we have here. Most of you, unless you're a manager or a team leader, will see this little option here that will say team mode, manager mode, that kind of stuff. This, we're talking about agents. So you'll have your dashboard, people, calendars, campaigns here. On the right-hand side here, you can search for anybody very quickly. Oh, let's let it refresh. I'm hoping I have some issues with this so I can show you how to get around it, but if not, okay, cool. Let's see. So this is where you can search for a client if you need to just pull something up pretty quickly here, which is pretty cool. You also have this little cog here, which is where you can go into settings. I'm going to kind of walk you through that a little bit later, where you're going to want to spend some time in there. I can directly email someone very quickly without going into everything. And then there is an option of something called Wave, which is WAVV, which is a text and call service you can actually sign up for, where you can text directly from Moxie Engage and make phone calls directly from Moxie Engage. So instead of having to pull your phone out to call, there's a service that does cost, but you can, if that's something that you want to do, there's an auto dialer that you can get into and text messages directly from your Engage, which will allow you to keep track of the messages and everything that you have going pretty easily. Okay, so let's talk about the dashboard. So just so you know, Moxie is there's not an app for Moxie Works. Okay, so you're not gonna find it on the app. There's nothing there, but this is mobile optimized for all the websites. Now for Moxie Present, doing a CMA, it's a little bit tough on a little phone trying to pick properties and stuff like that. I probably wouldn't do that. But save that email, save this address up here, the engage.century21.com. And if you access that on your phone, it is so easy to get through and update contacts and send emails and do the things that you need to directly through Engage. So that's been a little pushback that I've gotten, but it's very mobile friendly. So you can pull it up on an iPad or iPhone or a phone or tablet, things like that. And it works very, very well. So you can do this when you're sitting in line at Starbucks and update some of these contacts. Your dashboard right here, though, this to me is super, super important. You're going to have 7 different options that kind of tie in here on the right. You have your sales flow, goals, calendar, activity feed, my listing, stay in the flow, and to-do list. You can move these wherever you want. Whatever is important to you. Whatever, if you're somebody who does a to-do list every day, you need to see that first. Throw that up there. This is how I like it set up. I have the sales flow. Think of the sales flow as your pipeline. Okay, that is your funnel. That is your business. If you're worried about a shifting market right here and you don't have anybody in a marketing or prospecting phase, like this is your future business. Your active are the ones that are actually out there looking at houses or properties that are actually listed. And then you have your pending, which are going to be your properties that are actually under contract. I want to see this every day. But Ryan is like, he's very competitive and he is really big on his goals. So he wants to see every time he logs in that he's only at 7% to his goal, because that's going to piss him off in June in the middle of the year. So I don't want to see that. I'm going to hide that at the bottom. But this is your sales flow. When you look at marketing is past buyers, past sellers, people that haven't quite decided they're going to work with you yet. Okay, so maybe they're interested, maybe you just met them, you put them in marketing, which is going to give you some tasks to do, and you're good to go. As you start doing some follow-up tasks, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, you get into the prospect side. And a prospect is someone that is going to work with you. So Jen, when you get that person, you get a lead that comes through, or you meet someone and they're interested in buying a home, you put them in the prospect side. Okay, so they're in your prospects. Maybe they have to work on credit. Maybe they're waiting to do this. Maybe they're waiting for this to close and that. So they're not quite active, I guess you can say. And then finally, and then next you have the active section, which is basically moving your data from not ready to pretty much ready, just waiting to do a few things. Active means they are ready. They're actually going out there, you're showing them houses. And then pending would be the ones that are actually under contract. So a listing that's under contract, excuse me, or a home that's under contract. So this is very important to me. This is like, if you use Zap, you would have those kind of scores that show where everybody's kind of at. To me, this is like actives. They're people I need to focus on probably for the next 0 to 3 months. They're going to close something. Prospects are probably 3 to 6, maybe 6 to 9 months. And the marketing is probably going to be someone that's going to be maybe at the end of the year or next year, but you still want them in your business. Now, one of the things you're going to see with me is I only have 28, 5, and 3. So I don't have that many in here, right? I only have about 36 in here. You're going to see I have way more contacts than that. And I'll discuss that in a few too. All right, cool. So you see your sales flow, super, super important. And when we get to a contact, you're going to actually see what that looks like. Let's see here. I got a question. Let's see. Clarissa. Okay, I'll ask that. Next up over here, you have your calendar. Again, this is pretty simple. I hope you know what a calendar is, but this is tied directly with your Google Calendar. And if you do have specific tasks that need to happen that day for following up with a client, will be here too. Activity feed. I think this is important too, because this is showing you if anybody is actively searching on your website, if they're saving stuff, if you're emailing them, if they're opening your emails. If you send them a Moxie presentation, it will show you here that you sent them a Moxie presentation, and even if they have opened it. So if you send a CMA to someone, you're going to see that here. You're also going to see if any neighborhood news have been sent or if they've opened any of them. So I think that's super important there. My listings, I do not have anything right now. This is where you will see your pending listings. Stay in the flow is exactly what it sounds like. You want to stay in the flow, man. Like what do we got going? Okay, these are people that I haven't talked to. I'm going to click on this in the last 90 days that are in my sphere. Every day, 5 of them pop up. So what I recommend to do is log in every day, check to see what's going on with your pipeline, look at the activity feed to see if anybody has actually been active in doing things. contact these 5 people, and then I don't do anything with my goals. But your goal section, if you look here at the top, this will actually show you anything that is closed. When you go down pending, it will show you who's actually some of your pending. And I can actually put in what they are looking at, what the average commission is, and it will actually give me dollar amounts of what these clients are actually worth, which is really, really cool. Any questions on the dashboard? Because I want to get moving into my people and groups and all that stuff. Let's see, I got a question. Hopefully. All right, Clarissa, for your question about updating your company logo, I would go to, I'll probably go to Century 21 or Moxie specifically, because if it's in dash, it should. But the logos are directly from Century 21, whatever we have provided for Century 21 are the logos that get pushed through to us. So I would probably actually, Clarissa, I would probably reach out to your brand ambassador to make sure they can get that changed, because I would want that changed like ASAP. All right, no other questions. Okay, WIPA, why does it keep logging out on a timer to log out? Okay, so WIPA, this is one of those issues that I said that they're kind of working on. But what happens, think of just like any program, like I don't agree with how fast it may make us refresh or log back in. Okay, like I know that when I go into specifically, let's say 21 online, after a certain period of time, it pops up and says, hey, here you go. I've sent that up to Moxie to say, hey, can you pop up a little window that says, hey, are you still using this? Are you still doing that? So you can log back in. They are also working on a login issue. They're supposed to have a fix. That one that we've been running into will probably fix a lot of this other stuff. So I'm hoping by the end of this week, WIPA, that will get taken care of. But you know what, I want to go back to this help feature too, because, you know, I'm only one man, and we got a lot of brokerages that are going to be launching. And you want to think that this is going to be a perfect launch and everything's going to work perfectly every time it does. But like I said, this is the largest technology release for a real estate company like ever. Okay, so regardless of how long Moxie's been in the business and what's been going on, whenever you have new technology that comes out, there's always going to be hiccups. And you're probably going to have that one person in your brokerage that you can go to try to get some answers and try to get some help. But I will tell you, this little red button down here, when you click help, start using it. Because I can go ahead and send a ticket in for anybody, but so can you. And if there's an issue with it logging in, put a ticket in so they can get it fixed and we'll get through it. You know, and for most of the people on this call that have already launched it, we are in early release, which basically means we're a pilot, kind of testing out some of this stuff to get it before. And, you know, our broker just went to 2100 Club, which is the top 70 brokers in the country. He went to the 2100 Club, and there were only a handful of people that actually had Moxie, and everybody was pissed off that they didn't have it yet because it's that amazing. Although there are some hiccups. So with new technology, there's going to. And then my last little thing before we keep going on, because this actually, thank you for bringing that up, because it does kind of help me. What did I want to say? Where is it at? The most expensive words in any business, this has nothing to do with Moxie, but I just want to throw it out there, is the most expensive words in any business is we have always done it that way. So if you're used to using another CRM, if you're used to using Zap, if you're used to using Business Builder, you're used to using something that seems easier to you, you want to be, change is inevitable in real estate, in technology, whatever that looks like. There's going to be learning curves. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be this, there's going to be that. You have to be prepared that when learning something new, that, you know, it's not going to be done the exact same way, and there may be some hiccups. So understanding how the system works to be able to possibly alleviate some of those issues, that issue WIPA that you may be having could save thousands of agents issues with doing that. Unfortunately, I don't work for Moxie, and I don't work for corporate Century 21, and I don't work for Realogy or anywhere. So all I can do is use this little box here when I have issues, and that's where I get that's where I get things taken care of. So I click on this for if I don't know how to do something, or if I want to chat with someone, I literally will get in touch and start working through the issues that might be there. So thank you, Whippa, for throwing that out there. All right, so let's go talk about people. So if you want to add somebody, and this is number 2, I talked about working your data, spending time cleaning it out, and garbage in, garbage out. The next thing I would do is, this is how you would add somebody. You go to people, click add, and if you have not done this yet, I would add yourself personally to your Moxi Engage. One of the best ways to learn a new system is to practice, 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 practice. And it is hands down better to practice on yourself than it is to a potential client. Because if you don't know how something looks on a consumer facing standpoint and they have questions, you look like an idiot. You want to be able to know what it looks like, or you send something out incorrectly. If you're just practicing and you're sending it to yourself, there's no issues that are going to happen. If you just start sending stuff out, and you know what it looks like, you know how to do anything, and you send the wrong thing to a client, what's that telling a seller if you start sending them buyer campaigns because you didn't know how to click on it and get it set up? So number 2, go in and set yourself up in Moxi Engage. Okay, to do that, you're just going to go to people, go add people here. You need first name, last name, email address, and phone number. You can get away with just a phone number, but obviously if you don't have an email, you cannot send any campaigns, you can't send any presentations, you can't do any of that stuff. You can also do just email and no phone number. So you'll see some different options here. You're just going to fill this out. You can add their websites, you can add relationships if they're married, if they have kids, special dates. You can start putting in some of that stuff, and then you're going to click done. So if you have not, I would hands down go in and make an account for yourself so you can practice sending all of these things out for you. Okay. This is basically the overview of my people. So we're going to see that sales flow that we saw on the dashboard. You're going to see recent clients that I looked at here. You'll see recommended actions, which I'm going to show you that. We're going to go through that in a minute, and then you'll have anybody new that has added into it. Where I like spending the time is under my people, because I think this is where you get the most value. So for those of you who have a huge group of people that you want to upload, like 100 people. Hold on one second. So here's your add person here. This would be a single add-on. Now, if you want to do a bulk upload, you're going to click the setting option right here and go down to import Outlook CSV. Okay. What it's going to do is it's going to tell you to go to either hit select file if you've already downloaded it, but what I recommend to do is click Help Center, which is going to bring you to the support article from Moxie on how to actually do an upload. The main thing is you want to download this CSV file here, so it is not tainted from anybody accidentally putting the wrong things in. And you need to make sure your contacts are in this CSV file. And then that's what you need to actually import. Okay. So here you're going to see, I remember I said I have 382 people in mind, and I only have about 36, right? That are, no, 86. I can't remember. I think it was 86, excuse me. 86 that actually are in my pipeline. So I still have 300 people that are still here that are just not in that are not clients, basically. Okay. So that's all I have, or I haven't gone through and actually finished identifying. Now, if you've just done an upload in, or you've just migrated from Zap or Business Builder, you're not going to have anybody in your pipeline. You need to take the time to actually go through and excuse me. Whew, I think it's I hope this is allergies. So I'm going to walk you through what some of these look like real quick, and then I'm going to give you some best practices on what you should do after you do your import from either from Google or Zap or Business Builder. So first up here, you can search by a group. You can search by phone numbers, emails, seller. You just a regular search. So I can go in here. And when I told you like to make fake accounts, right? So you can see here that, let me pull up one of my contacts. Oh, look, Keanu Reeves. I'm that cool. I know Keanu Reeves. If you guys don't know him, he is a fantastic person. He really, really is. Anyways, now this is just a fake account that I made so I can practice sending out neighborhood news searches, all that kind of stuff. So you can easily search and filter all of your 382 people. I can click filters over here and you can see that I can literally filter between prospects, actives, and market and the marketing standpoint on the sales flow. I can do by buyers, sellers, past sellers. I love this here, action needed. So as you import someone, it's going to tell you how many are new. You can go to the ones that are missing phone numbers and reach out and try to get their phone numbers if they're missing addresses, all that stuff. And then you can actually come over here and you can actually do by group. And groups, I think, are super important because you can have everything from closed. I have one for farm where I can download a street, import them into Moxi Engage, and set them up on neighborhood news for an entire subdivision. If you wanted to do something like that, just take a little bit of time for that kind of stuff. But I think that's, super important to have groups set up because there are so many things that you can do that's going to save you time if you have groups set up that will really allow you to kind of make more efficient use of your time, I would say. So let's say, for instance, here, I want to take all of my buyers, let's just say. I can take all my 20 buyers, and by clicking select all, I hit add to, I can add them to a specific group, which is already there. I can set every single one of them up on a buyer campaign at one time. I can set everybody up for a neighborhood news, which is a monthly newsletter. They will get every month about the market and what's going on. And then I can set them up for automatic emails for any new listing I get and any property I have that's sold. Just by separating them into groups, I can literally touch 20 people like that. Give me 5 minutes. They're on campaigns, they're in groups, they're in neighborhood news and listing alerts. And if I'm an agent that's actually doing some business, probably like listing a property a month or two, let's say you're doing two deals a month, that's 24 contacts that they're going to get just from listing announcements, and then another 12 from neighborhood news, because that's going out every single month. And then let's just say I decided I want to set every single one of them up on a holiday campaign that just says Happy Memorial Day or Merry Christmas or anything like that. It's another 17 touch points on top of the 24, on top of the 12. Like, I can literally set this up where I could get in front of them 60, 70 times in a month without having to do anything. Now, we want to do stuff more than that, but that's just what you can do. And that's how easy it is to get somebody set up on some of those. Here, I can also export. So if I want to actually send these, and I can turn them into mailing labels. So if people like to go out there and do mailers, I can actually, as long as I have their address and everything in there, obviously that's important for mailing labels. But if I have everybody set up and let's say a farm and I have all their addresses, I could actually send this, and it just works with like the Avery labels that you get at like CVS, and you can go print up labels so you can, start sending out mailers. I can do bulk remove, or I can actually just remove them. Now, this is the cool thing. Again, when I said when you remove them from Engage, they're not out of your Google contacts. They just go bye-bye. They're just not here. You're not going to market to them. You're not going to be able to do any of that stuff. Okay. But the cool thing, I'm going to show you this too. Oh, let's take Chris Reed here. Let's deselect all. I'm going to take Chris and I'm going to remove him. And then you have to say why. I'm just going to put other. And then I'm like, oh crap, I didn't mean to take him. Does that mean I have to add him one more time? It does not. Click on people. Once you're in this My People screen, I can click here on the settings icon, and you see where it says Manage Removed. I click Manage Removed, and I will be able to come down here to Chris Reed. And now I am restoring him back into my Moxi Engage. So if I accidentally take somebody out in Engage, I can put them back in. All right, one of the questions that I just got from Amber is when you do neighborhood news for an entire group, does that create the same zip code for everyone? No. That's the short answer. That's probably not the answer you wanted. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like, Amber. So let's say, for instance, again, I'm going to go, I have one that says real estate agent. So I'm going to separate, I'm going to filter through anyone that's in my real estate or like a collaborator. And I get a lot of agents that are like, why do I want another real estate agent in my CRM? I don't know about you, but I get emails all the time when agents get new listings from outside of the brokerage. Hey, just listed this great property here in Pinellas County, whatever it is. Group them separately. They're just in your database. You're not marketing to them any other way. Set everybody up on listings, just listed and just solds. And by doing that, automatic free marketing, when you have a listing that goes live, will automatically go, in this case, to 23 people when I do this. So I'm going to show you listing announcements first, and then Amber, I'm going to come back and answer your question and show you neighborhood news. So as you can see here, add to just listed. I have just listed and just sold. You can see I've already subscribed them to it. All right. When the box is checked, that means they are automatically, every time I get a listing, they're getting an email, and every time I sell something, they're getting an email. So if I get one listing a month, I'm going to close that listing, right? So it's literally 2 a month that everybody for free marketing is going to see that I've done this. Really simple, really cool. I would have everybody in your group, in your sphere, or in this and Engage actually do that. All right, so let me show you neighborhood news. So let's say I want to set somebody up for neighborhood news. There's 2 options. If you do quick, a window pops up here on the right, Amber. You have to put a zip code in. I can put different zip codes for everybody. I could do the same zip codes for one of them. But this is how I could set everybody up on a neighborhood news, by putting that zip code in there. You can also do it by a custom. That's going to be a little bit more generic, because if you, I'm not generic, it's a little bit more specific. So if I take 23 people that are all over the state of Florida, I don't want to do a custom area for neighborhood news. It wouldn't make sense. But a custom area for neighborhood news will be perfect for a farm, or if you have a potential seller or a past buyer that lives in a community, do a neighborhood news just on their community. I'm going to show you how to do that here in a few. Okay. Next up here, you can see again, I can remove, you can call with Wave or message with Wave. I do not pay for that service right now, but that is a service that is out there. Edit groups. This is where you will add and subtract groups. So this is one of the other thing. This is probably, okay. So number 1 is to clean up your database. Number 2 is to add yourself to the account and play around with it. Number 3 is to edit and make groups of what the best thing for how you would like to kind of separate everything. This is how you do it, by clicking edit group, create a new group, create, save. And then let's say, for instance, I want to put all of these people in my group. I'm going to click groups, and I can go down to the one I just made, which was Jimmy's group. And now they will be in that group. I'm not going to move anybody else right now. Okay. Number 4, 1, clean up your database. 2, put yourself in and practice what it looks like. 3, make groups. 4, this is how you set up your pipeline. It's probably the easiest way to do it. Click category wizard right here. Hopefully you guys can see it. Has 3 stars, right? Category wizard. What this is going to do is it's going to randomly pull up 6 people from your database that have all come into Moxi Engage. And this is where you identify if they should be in your sales flow / pipeline, whatever you want to call it. It is called the sales flow though. This is where you're going to say, do they go in my sales flow and I need to market and I need to follow up and do all that kind of stuff with them? Or are they not there? I'm not going to be marketing to them. I'm not selling them anything. I just want them in my CRM. Okay. My recommendation here. So I have 35 people that have not been identified if they're a client or not. I had 382. So I've gone through mine already. If you logged in the first time, you may have 3,000 people here that you need to go through. My recommendation is every day at first, do like 24 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 next, and just go through and identify, because you need to put them in the right section so you can start campaigning, following up, and doing the tasks that you need to with them. To go through this, it's super easy. This first one here, she's not a client, she's an agent. Okay, I accidentally clicked on her. This is what it looks like if you actually click on it. And she is, I'm going to put her as a collaborator because she is an agent. Done. So she is not in my pipeline. I don't have to worry about marketing and getting her to buy something, because it's not going to work that way. So take the time and do this. To me, this is like step 2. The first step is cleaning up Google and all that kind of stuff and cleaning everything up. Step 2 is the people that are in here to identify if they should be in your pipeline or not. And then the third one to me is then you do the migration from like Zapper Business Builder. Just depends on how many contacts that you have and where you're at and how comfortable you are with technology. So I'm going to go through and make personal contacts. A lot of these are just, and this is funny because these all get loaded in when I put them in my phone. Okay, so this one is a client. So you have three options. Are they a prospective buyer or a prospective seller? Or create marketing plan. This is going to put them in that first section of the sales flow. Are they a past buyer, past seller, or a past buyer and seller? Okay. So that's number 4. Take time, use the category wizard. I think it just makes sense. It'll take time. You can see where everybody's truly at. And honestly, if you don't clean everything up and you're already at this point, start removing them from Engage. Get them out. But you can't, if you have garbage there and you try to start going to and try to do things for them, it's just not going to make any sense. Like, don't waste time on that stuff. Like, clean it up, do the category wizard, call it a day. All right, 154. I got to get in here. Okay, so you're going to do those 4 things. And then next up, after you've added somebody, and hopefully this is yourself, play around with each one of these. As you can see here, when you look at a contact card, you have your marketing, which we've already talked about, all your sales flow up here. See, this person is a prospect. So this is somebody who is interested in someone is interested in buying a home because he's a buyer. And you can see that there's specific tasks here that will hit your calendar to follow up with them. So let's say I get a new prospect. This is saying reach out and schedule a meet and greet. This is how badass this is. So I need to reach out to him, set a time so we can sit down and really follow up to see what his goals are and when he's going to be ready to buy. I click schedule a meeting. Well, we already know he's in here. So I'm like, you could see that his email's here. So I don't need to add him again. I'm just going to say, let's get together and let's call it at 2 o'clock from 2:30, done. So guess what this is going to do? It's going to make an appointment on my Google Calendar at 2 o'clock that I have a meeting with him. It's going to send him an invite to remind him at 2 o'clock that he has a meeting with me so we can discuss kind of what his next steps are. And it throws a task on my calendar. So if I'm using the dashboard every day, this would pop up on the day I need to remind me to do that. Okay. Another cool thing with this, create a buyer's presentation. This is also badass. Use my language. Directly from Engage, I can click create a buyer's presentation and it's going to pull up Moxie Present and start a presentation for me with his information. And remember when I said that it all ties together? When I send that, it shows me under activity here that I actually sent him the presentation, if he received it and if he's opened it. So talk about how powerful that is, where you can reach out and say, what did you think about that presentation I sent you? Same thing for a seller, whatever that looks like. Very, very cool. So, and then as you go through these and you check these off, they're reminders, you check them off, you can move them to the next one. So let's say you conduct a meet and greet and they're like, yes, here's my pre-approval. I'm ready to go. I got $150,000 cash in the bank. I'm ready to go. I can switch them over. Excuse me. I can click move transaction from the prospect zone to active. And now there's things to do here. So once I get an active one, this is something that I've set up. You can make your own tasks. I am going to send a buyer presentation to my buyer. I'm going to send a new buyer video, start scheduling tours. This literally goes all the way down to obtaining a contract, which is pretty cool. Let's keep going through this contact card. So profile, at any time you can go, I can edit, I can change, add phone numbers, add emails, things like that, add birth dates, those type of things. You have your notes section. So notes, you're going to see information if you do a sync from, let's say Zapper Business Builder. So like Jerry, you said you use Business Builder. So if you were to swing in Business Builder and do that migration, you're going to see all the information and anything that you've ever sent to him, you're going to have here in the notes section. So it's going to show any communication that you've had, if you've emailed them, if they've saved anything, if you sent any type of campaign to them. It's really the Bible of that of that contact coming from Zap or Business Builder. Or you can add your own notes. This is where you would add, hey, this buyer's looking for $500,000, three bedroom, 2-bath on a water with a slip and slide. I don't know. Okay. Okay, so Ryan, when you add them, okay, so I'm gonna let's go back real quick to somebody else that I have. So Ryan's question is, when I add someone, I'm not getting the option to add them as a buyer or seller. Easiest way to look at that is once you pull up that contact, click on the person. So I'm going to do it from my category wizard, and this is where I would do it from. Unless you, Ryan, unless you have already put them in the system as a buyer or seller. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to use, let's say I use this one. If you're on the contact card, right after you input somebody, you're going to come up with this screen right here. If you do not see this screen where it says client or non-client, when you get down to the bottom of the profile here, you may have clicked past seller, past buyer, personal collaborate. So if you actually designate on this, it's not going to pull up the buyer, and you're going to have to change them in the system to be able to fix that. All right, let me go back to the one I was on, because this is actually a friend's, and if I send anything, it's not going to screw anything up. Okay, so I'm back to the profile card here. Activity, this is where you can see what's going on. You can see, look at this. We just did this, right? So I clicked buyer presentation. It automatically, a presentation Chris Reed was created for associated with the transaction Chris Reed buyer. So that presentation now is tied with this transaction. You can see when I added him, you can see when I removed him, and you can see where I restored him. You also see when any email goes out, neighborhood news goes out, any of that stuff, you're going to actually see in here, which is fantastic. Zap kind of did that, where it would show you if somebody opened it, you could see if they've done those things or what they're looking at. Very similar there. Next thing I want you to do is, after you get somebody in here, you add them to your buyer or seller, is I want you to come down here to add subscriptions. This is how you would add neighborhood news and listing announcements individually. So in this case, I'm going to start off with listing announcements. I am going to send him anything that I just listed or just sold. I can check them off too if I want. All right, so now I'm an agent that's doing some business. He is automatically set up for just listed and just sold. So he's probably getting 24 emails from me right now. Well, not right this second, if I was active. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add another subscription, and this is your neighborhood news. If you're not sure what it looks like, it's really cool. At any point, click this view sample, and you can kind of see an idea of what the email is here. Now they can edit their zip code if they don't like what it is. They can make it custom, but they can see what's happening in the market, and it's automatically sent to them. Where's that? So what you're going to do is you're going to click add subscription. You have two options. You can do a quick one, which is literally just putting a zip code in. So there's not much you have to do there. Let me show you what a custom one looks like. So let's say, for instance, this one, let's say Chris here is living in a community down the street. Now, if you've already used Moxie Present, you're already getting into the search features of Moxie. They all are tied in and look exactly the same. So this isn't any different from doing a CMA. It's the same idea. But let's say, for instance, I want to set up a neighborhood news because he lives right over here. I am going to draw around his community. Okay. And I am going to set up a neighborhood news just for that. So I hit next. I'm just going to keep going through. So every month now he will get a full report of his community, of what is sold, what's listed, and what's pending. So right now, with just doing just listed in that, I already have probably 36 contacts that I've done for him there. Any questions on that? I know we're already at 2 o'clock, so I'm not going to go too much longer. I'm going to show you how to throw on how to find campaigns and put contacts on them. I will. There's also typically an option right here that says faves and saves. And this is where you would set up a search. The search functionality can be sent out every hour, every day, every week. every month. It's tied directly into your MLS, which will update in real time. This did not want to do it. 1 second. So you'll see this faves and saves option here. And you can actually come in here and you can see which search that you have actually already set up for them. You can edit it. You can add new ones, just like we did with neighborhood news. You can pick exactly where you want and what they're looking for. The cool thing again with this is it will show you when a search was sent, when it was sent. You can see, like, I have this set up literally every hour, and I have it set up this way just so I can continue to look at it to see what's happening. I just want to see, you know, what's going on. I want to see what it looks like for my client so that they know where, and I want to know if it goes into spam or if it doesn't go. And it comes directly from you, by the way. It's not covered up as something else. Okay. So that's how you kind of deal with your people. So what do we have so far? We have clean up your database, put yourself in so you can practice what it's going to look like, right? Set up your groups. Start using the category wizard to go through and identify who's part of your pipeline. And then the 5th one, I would say, start setting all these people up. Yes, Dick, you can. So Dick asked, can I select a budget range? Yes. So when you're setting up a search, you can actually do budget. You could do range, price range, bedrooms, baths, waterfront, pool, all that kind of stuff. It is not as advanced as MLS when it comes to all the small little things that you can adjust, but it does give enough. I feel it gives enough, but if you're looking for something a little bit more specific, you may still need to use MLS. Or what I would recommend to do is if there's something missing that you want to see in the search functionality, send it up to Moxie. They have a support structure where if you have ideas, you can actually send it up and say, I think this would be fantastic if we had something like this. So if you'd like something to see a little bit different, definitely throw that up there. Donna asked me, I know this is a direct message, but is Moxie Engage the same program that management would use for recruiting agents? So Donna, yes and no. So yes, your clients, your recruits would go in here, but we also have something called Moxie Talent, which is a way to actually recruit actual agents, get them into your Engage, because there are campaigns that are set up for agents. You can make your own campaigns to kind of push specifically what you're looking for. But yes, this is where you would find the same information, which is why it's important for groups to have them set up correctly. So, you know, you would probably you can actually set them up as a recruit. You saw that on mine. I think we should see it. So you'll see as I add somebody down here, I can turn them into a recruit here. But only managers and brokers will have that access. All right, cool. So let's talk about campaigns. First time you want to set up a campaign. This is definitely something that's a little bit different, but you know, change is not always, it's not easy, it's not hard, it just is. I just totally did not mean to do that. I just closed everything out. Why did that? I didn't even know I could do that with my computer. That's fantastic. All right, sorry. All right, so you can see I just typed in present.century21.com and it brought me right back to, I use present all the time for some reason, but you'll see I'm up to everything that I need to right now. So I'm going back to Engage. That's what we were talking about. All right, so let's talk about campaigns. So, and actually, Donna, this is what the manager dashboard looks like. You know, and let me talk about this because in Zap, as a manager, I was able to proxy in as an agent so I could see kind of how everything's going. Management and brokers do not have access to your clients in Moxie. You do not have access to be able to see that. The only way as a manager or broker that I have access to anyone, so like Ryan may say, hey, look, I'm having an issue, Jimmy, can you take a look at this? Well, it's kind of hard for me to figure out anything a lot of times over the phone, unless we're sitting next to each other. He can allow me access to his account and I can see everything in his account. I can help him with presentations. I can help him with his Engage, with his websites, all that kind of stuff. And then he could take it away from me at any time if he wanted to and be like, no, I'm out, you know? So that is something that's a little bit different from Zap. I'm going to, and you can see here, this is my talent mode, and that's a whole nother thing. We're not going to go into that right now. I want to finish up on the agent standpoint, Donna, if that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to agent mode. Let's talk about campaigns again, though. So campaigns, you're going to get from a couple different sources. And as a broker or manager, you have the capability of making your own campaigns. At this point, an agent, it's a little bit harder to do that. Your broker would have to actually make some blank campaigns or emails for you to kind of pull up your own stuff and play around with it. It is in the works, but you will be able to. But the first thing you need to do is you need to click on campaigns, and you're going to see here that I have 27 campaigns already that are here. But if you logged in the first time and you're ready to set somebody up, you're not going to have any. You're going to have zero. You're not going to be able to send one campaign out the first time you get in. Click on campaigns and come over here to where it says add from library. Now, let me show you actually before we do that. Okay, so you saw campaigns. There's also an e-blast capability, WIPA. Maybe we could talk because I know WIPA was working on something there. This is kind of cool, though. So this actually shows me neighborhood news. It tells me how many people are set up on it, how many people are opening it. 72% of the people actually are opening it, and then 41% of those are actually clicking on it and going into it. Pretty cool. Same thing, you got listing announcements, so you can see if a listing has gone out, what the open rate is, all that kind of stuff there. And then finally, you have your emails, but we're going to talk about getting all these campaigns and if you want specific emails and e-blasts. So what you're going to do is you click add from campaign. Now this will take a second to load, so give it a second or a few seconds. Okay, maybe even a few more seconds. Like, it definitely takes a little bit of time to kind of load them up. So what you'll see here is on the right, I have all sources. You can check it by just Century 21, just your brokerage, just your office. I usually leave it on all sources just so you can see everything that is available. Okay, so I mean, it's super easy, but all you do is you're going to click over here and click add campaigns. So look at the campaigns, go through. You're going to see some that are not editable. You can't eat these, Ryan. Don't even try it. Okay, you can't. Okay, you'll see that some of them you can't do anything with. Some of them you will be able to. Parent company is going to be Century 21. Then you'll start seeing some things from brokerage that they may have pulled in or that they've made available for you that they've made. You will also see some recruiting ones and things like that in here too. All you're going to do is just click add the ones you want. If you want to take a look just to see, click preview just to see if, and all you're doing is you're taking it out of the file cabinet out of the sky and you're just bringing it down into your computer and into your Moxie so you can start sending it out. And as you see, like with these campaigns, it'll actually show you what the emails look like. So when I set somebody up on this holiday 2022, 2023, this is what they're getting automatically on these days. 19 touch points automatically going out, similar to what you would see in, let's say, Business Builder with that kind of stuff. You cannot remove them. No, Amber. You may be able to add your own, like take it. You can actually, no, you can delete one. Sorry, I'm wrong with that. You can delete one if you don't want one, but it's going to completely change your campaigns going forward. So if I take out Father's Day right now and then I set everybody up, it's not an that means everybody that I end up setting up on a campaign after that point will not have Father's Day in there. That's how the system works. So, and I would just look at that. If you're looking at trying to make something very specific, you need to probably go down all the holidays also. So making sure that you're sending out the correct holiday. If somebody does not celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or Mother's Day, or you just have to watch out for all those. But you can take them out. And on a campaign, you can go and adjust the time frame that it goes, but with holidays, you don't change the dates because those are the dates that they actually go out. So once you have added them, you'll be able to go down and you can see what they look like. Okay. And you've added them from your library. You can see basically what they look like on that standpoint. And then to actually go out oops. And to actually set them up on a campaign is pretty simple. Once I get in, so how's everybody else doing today while this is loading? Is everybody doing good? Yeah, kind of, yeah. Okay, there we go. So the easiest way to actually put somebody on a campaign is, this is the easiest way to do it. Click on this box here, add to, click campaigns. You're going to see all the campaigns that you've downloaded here. Okay. All you have to do is I'm going to go ahead and set Chris up for a holiday campaign. And this is kind of cool too, just so you got, like, for the Beggins agents, I even have the May and June wizard article in here, just so you know. So if you wanted to send somebody this, I mean, it's just so you know it's there. But let's say I have a buyer. Let's say he's also a buyer and he's looking at upselling. Well, no, I need to find something that says, are you moving to Hawaii? I might need to make that campaign. But I can set him up on a seller warm prospect one, and boom. So he's set up on 2 campaigns right there. He's set up on new listing alerts. He's not set up on a search yet, but he's set up on neighborhood news. He's ready to go. So I'm just about finished up, and I want to go over one more quick little thing. So with the launch of Moxie, something called Leads Engine came out, right? So you may get emails saying, hey, a lead came through Century 21. It goes through Leads Engine. It hits Moxie. And you're like, sweet, I got a lead. Well, what do you do next? In Zap, they had these little red balls that if you didn't follow up with a lead that came from your broker, you weren't getting new leads. In Leads Engine, something similar, but there is a specific time frame that you have to follow up on the leads that are given to you. But what do you have to do to make it look like you followed up with them? This is the easiest way to do it. Come here to My People, find your person here. You can click on them if you want to, go in and do an activity. Easiest way to do it, though, is you can either send a presentation to them that you have to tie directly to them. I can log an activity. So I'm going to log an activity at 2:15 on the 15th today. I'm just going to say other, talk about all right, I have now done I have now updated the lead, and I am still in rotation to get another lead. If I did not do something like that, you can send an email, but the email has to go directly from Moxi Engage, not from your Gmail account. So if I shoot him an email here, this also constitutes as a connection and that I've done with him. So that means if you get a lead from Moxie that has to be followed up with, you'll usually get an email from Leads Engine that says, hey, you have 24 hours to get this taken care of. That's one of the ways that you can do it. The other way you can do it is to actually click on them. And I'm sorry, I sent you some emails. You probably have a few things. The other thing you can do here too is I can click on activity if I'm already underneath him. I can click create custom activity. It's the same thing that we just kind of saw. Maybe I called him. There you go. I just actively did something with them to get that taken care of. And if you look here, this is really cool. Look, it says email sent. When I sent it a few seconds ago, I can view the message, see what's up. Like, it's really, really intuitive on how to look at those things. And then finally, I literally closed out of everything for some reason, and I do not know why I did that. So to kind of finish up today, I know we're a little bit over, and I thank you for everybody that has jumped on and spent some time with me. We already talked about one of the first things to do is to clean up your database. Spend the time, even if you've launched, go back through. Zap is not getting sunsetted till the end of this year. In Business Builder, we don't even have a date yet. So you have time to get this taken care of. I'm not saying wait till the end of the year. But one thing with Zap is after you launch, for the early adopters, we're still good until probably September, but then we're not going to be able to add anybody or do anything with them. So spend the time now to clean up your database. I called this a 3-step approach. We already talked about working contacts, migrate the email first, get comfortable with it. We already discussed that. Some other things to do too, attend the Moxie Hour bi-weekly calls. I've already talked about that first thing today. Set yourself up on sales flow, campaigns, neighborhood news, set yourself up on everything so you can practice and make yourself better. Because I will tell you that the more that you use this system, the more efficient you're going to be and the more money you're going to make. I'm going to tell you right now, the numbers show about a 70% increase in transactions if you use Moxi Engage. I don't know if religiously is a word when it comes to how often you use it, but compared to those that don't. And then I think it's like a 50% increase in actually sales volume. So something to kind of think about. Set groups in your database. We talked about that. Use Category Wizard. I said 20 a day. Schedule times specifically for bettering yourself with Moxie. Like that is probably a big one too, because if you've been using another system for so long and you're starting to use this, it's going to suck. It sucks learning new stuff, and you're used to doing something the way that you've always done it, right? We already talked about that too. You got to get in there, you got to play around with it, you got to get comfortable with it. And I think that's going to be all I'm going to have here. So next week, I'm going to send out something for Moxie website. So let's throw some questions, unmute if you have anything. I think, Donna, if you have an agent that doesn't respond or update, what happens to the lead? Okay, so Donna, you're asking if somebody gets the lead, and they don't follow up with it, what will happen? So if I get the lead first, Donna, and you have the engagement rules turned on. So if the engagement rules are turned on, when I get that lead and I've called them, I've done whatever, and I don't follow up when it says, or I don't do one of the things in Engage that actually help kind of turn that on so I can continue to get leads. If I don't do anything in the system, I'm not going to get any more leads, at least through Lead Router, like a Lead Engine. It's not going to happen. Basically, it will bypass me on that standpoint. But if a new lead that comes in, I'm not going to have access to be able to get it. Now, if you get, if let's say, for instance, I guess, hold on, let me see, letting us tag in. Yeah, let's see. It won't route it after though. Like, so if I don't follow up with it, it doesn't mean it doesn't just automatically go to someone else if I don't follow up. It just basically turns off my ability of being able to get new leads that come in. On a management standpoint, if I really wanted to, and somebody's not following up, I do have access to see the leads that aren't followed up. And if I wanted to, I could technically assign them to another agent and put them back in rotation if I wanted to, but it doesn't automatically happen that way. Carol, I'll send out an email. I'll send out an email once I get the download of the video, and I'll have the link where you can sign up for the Moxie Works hours calls. The next one is next Wednesday. I believe they're going to talk a little bit about Moxie Engage. Now, I will tell you, the Moxie Hour calls are a little bit higher level. They're done on a Realogy / I keep saying Realogy, the Anywhere Real Estate company. Like it's on that level. So you may have people from other brands like Caldwell Banker, obviously Century 21, Sotheby's, all the ones that Realogy owns basically are all available for this, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do something like this, just because it's more specific to Century 21. It's going to be what you see. Like, this is what you're going to see. It's not going to be different colors. It's not different access. It's not, any of that stuff. It's specifically for what, we have there. So hopefully that answers your question, Harold. Anybody else have any questions on here? No. Well, I'd like to say thank you, Jen, and thank you, Ryan, for having your cameras on and paying attention. Thank you very much. I'm not saying that nobody else did, but thank you very much. And Jerry, no problem, man. If you need anything else too, feel free, shoot me a message. And the last thing I'll throw out there too is you're going to see in my email, I have a little link that says, for an appointment. There are little hour sections that I have each week that if you have some questions and you want to learn more, and this is for my brokerage too, log in, click on it, set a time. We can do one-on-one Zoom, look at some stuff, see what's going on. Try to help you out. Clarissa, I hope that helped too. So give me it, like, Clarissa, feel free, please reach out to me if you have any other questions or anything. I know you're launching next week. So All right.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Oh, you're welcome, Jen. Thank you.